Okay, so we are done. Let me see if there are any. Okay, so Lekha P1 and P2, there are some, these are some indices for checking of whether these d squared are significant or not, whether this is a significant distance from the center or not. Okay, so it only tells us that this d squared is significantly different from 0. What we have to look at is what happens to these numbers. Amrita, how do you explain all this procedure? You've got to write what are the items for which you allowed the measurement errors to co-vary. Okay, items 1 and 2. Uh, for example, here 2 and 6, we allowed the items to the measurement errors to co-vary with other items. Or you would say because there was significant uh, correlations between measurement errors, we or lower loadings, we dropped item 2 and 6 in order to improve the fit of the. Neha, yes, it is possible. You can have uh, even after co-varying, you have high chi-squares. Well, then there is a problem with your item set. Okay, and there is no other option but to either drop items or uh, maybe go back and think about. So it only tells you that your items are not proper, and that is the actually the advantage of doing CFA. It tells you whether the items are representing a latent factor or not, as you had realized. If you are not getting it, the only thing that you can do is go back and rework on your items, or maybe drop items which are poorly loading, which are having loadings less than zero point 0.5, zero point 0.6, and then see if you are able to improve the fit of the model. So Nirja, with total 6 items, you had to co-vary 3 items. You justify it by saying that there were measurement errors of 3 items were correlated to each other. Okay, and you can give the specific items also, item 2, 3, and all that. And then you allow them to co-vary and improve your fit of the model. This is a perfectly accepted way of improving model fits. And but what you have to remember is that the items should belong to one construct, not two different constructs. So you should, as I mentioned in leadership, you should not co-vary one item with item of another dimension or construct. If you are doing this, that is perfectly fine and accepted in the literature that you can co-vary. Or if you see, I have pruned, and when I prune, there is no need to co-vary any items. Purvi, I just mentioned you've got to write it as you are doing it. So you will say that I co-varied, I dropped these items, and so on. Yes, you will write it also, and you will have to draw the final model by hand. I will show you one of my papers where I have how to do it. Dharmesh, yes, it is important to get clean models in the sense models that give you good fits. If you don't get good fitting models, then you are essentially saying that my data does not fit with the model, so you cannot proceed again. By joining errors, what are we doing essentially? We are allowing these errors to be co-varying. That means when the tool is estimating these models, it is going to estimate measurement error for item IGN 1 and IGN 3. So the tool, if you don't co-vary, the tool assumes that these will be independent. So it will independently estimate E19 and E21. But when you co-vary these items, these error terms, then the tool will ensure that there is going to be a relationship between E9. There is going to be some correlation when it is estimating these errors. There is going to be some correlation between these. They will not be independent to each other. That means these items, because these are co-varying, therefore these items will also be co-varying to some extent. No, Deepti, you can, if you are removing 6 questions out of 82 items, that you can just do you can just do CFA. There is no need to do any CFA. Lekha, loadings will not improve. What will improve is, so if you look at this creativity model and look at the output, the estimates are these 0.62, 0.59, 0.76. So let me just copy it. So the loadings essentially will not improve. What will improve is, one, the cleanliness of your model, and you will be able to drop these. So there are two poor, that means items which were having very low loading, IGN 2 and MOBS 3, right? IGN 2 and MOBS 3. Now when you pruned it, you see we have actually dropped those two items which had loadings of less than 0.6. And when you do this, your estimates are actually, other loadings will be the same, but what has happened is you have dropped two of the poor loadings, which would actually help you in, first of all, improving the model fit, and the second is getting you a higher ABE and a better CR when we will do it in Excel, right? So by dropping, loadings of other items will not go up. What you have dropped is, what you have done is you have dropped poor items from your stock. If I remove an item from adopted scale after performing CFA, should I have to? No, you do not have to. See, I have taken 6 items from validated scale. It is perfectly okay to drop 2 items. Okay, please understand. It is perfectly fine that you have dropped 2 items. So don't worry. You can just go ahead and do CFA. Okay, and work. No, Javed, you will work on only one sample, right? So I had lead. So see, in my survey, what I did was I had leadership, I had justice, and I had CPB. Now I administered this survey. This is the scale that I have constructed, and these are my two consequent variables that I need for discriminant validity as well as nomological validity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to administer this full survey to respondents, and I collected 557 responses on this. So what I did was I have done EFA already on another sample. Okay. Now on this sample I will do CFA for leadership, I will do CFA for justice, I will do CFA for CPB, and now I will bring them together and do the construct validity as well as nomological validity, which will be my last step for checking the validity of my instrument. So you don't have to collect new sample for PJ, you don't have to collect new sample for CPB. Just one sample for all these constructs together. But this sample has to be different from the EFA sample. Just remember. Otherwise, you can work with the same sample for all your constructs that you are going to use for nomological and discriminant value. Okay. So let us come to the last